This is a man that had a lot of self-control. I think most people would have reacted differently if they were in this situation. This story has 3 updates. Here we go. I should have paid attention to the signs sooner. Maybe I was too focused on preparing for my upcoming business trip to Singapore. Or maybe I just didn't want to see what was happening right in front of me. But looking back now, everything started changing about 2 weeks before I was scheduled to leave. The first thing I noticed was her phone. After 7 years of marriage, I knew her habits. She'd always scroll through social media on the couch next to me, laughing at videos or showing me random posts. Then suddenly, she started taking all her calls in the guest room or garage. Her phone was always face down, and for the first time ever, she added a passcode. When I asked about it casually one evening, she said something about wanting to maintain privacy and security at work. It seemed reasonable enough at the time, but I wasn't the jealous type. If she wanted privacy, she got it, but nevertheless, it was strange. Then came the schedule changes. She'd always been a morning workout person, up at 5 a.m., back by 6:30 to get ready for work. But 3 weeks ago, she switched to evening workouts, saying the morning class instructor left and the evening one was much better. She started coming home later and later, usually around 8 or 9 p.m., claiming extra projects or staying later because another employee left early. The final red flag appeared when she started dressing differently, not drastically, just small changes. New perfume, more makeup, clothes I'd never seen before. When I complimented her on a new blouse, she got flustered and said she'd had it for ages. I'm not normally suspicious by nature. We've always had a solid relationship built on trust, but something felt a little off. The way she'd angle her body away while texting, how she'd suddenly put her phone away when I walked into the room, the mysterious work emergencies that kept popping up on weekends. With a 2-week business trip to Singapore looming for an investment opportunity, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. I knew I'd drive myself crazy with worry if I didn't get answers. So I did something I never thought I would. I hired a PI 2 days before my departure. If I was wrong, I'd feel guilty, but at least I'd have peace of mind. If I was right, well, I needed to know. And these private investigators are not cheap either. Before I get into what the PI discovered, I should probably give you a little bit of context. I really don't like to drag shit out. It wasn't some fairy tale romance, just 2 people who connected over a shared love of adventure. 8 years ago, I was struggling with a particularly tough bouldering route at the local climbing gym when she walked in. She was just as into trying this rock climbing thing as I was, and something about the way I kept failing at the same spot caught her eye. After watching me fall for the 10th time, she showed me a different approach to the problem. Turned out she'd been climbing for years and had competed at state level. Our first real conversation happened in the gym's cafe, comparing photos of climbing trips and sharing stories about our worst falls. We continued conversations while we were at the gym quite a bit, and she told me climbing was her escape from a high-pressure sales job. We started meeting up for weekend climbing sessions, which turned into hiking trips, which turned into something more. After getting married, we settled into a comfortable routine like most people do. She excelled at her job as a manager for a few clothing stores, while I had my own thing as a real estate investor. We were doing well, but everything shifted into high gear last year when she had the opportunity to relocate for her job and make more money. The catch? We had to relocate to Boston. Even though I was a real estate investor, I had money to invest anywhere I went. Just had to spend some time to learn the market. The move was significant, but the opportunity was too good to pass up. Higher salary, better territory, and a clear path to regional management. We found a gorgeous colonial house in a quiet suburb, the kind of place we'd always talked about. The first few months were intense but exciting. New city, new house, new challenges. Things were great until about 3 months ago, when she attended this conference in Philadelphia. She came back different, energized about work in a way I'd never seen before. At first, I was happy for her. She talked about new strategies, expanding her network, fresh opportunities. The late nights and extra meetings seemed like natural progression in her career. Looking back, that conference was the turning point. She started mentioning this regional director from a competing company who had fascinating insights into the industry. Her phone started buzzing more frequently with work-related messages. The changes were subtle at first, so subtle that pointing them out would have seemed paranoid. I tried to be supportive of her career growth. When she said she needed to attend more industry events, I encouraged her. When she started dressing more professionally, I complimented her. But something in my gut told me there was more to the story. The woman who came back from Philadelphia wasn't quite the same person who left. That's what makes this situation so surreal. We're not some couple who fell into a rut or grew apart. Up until that conference, we were still planning weekend climbing trips and talking about future adventures. But now, as I sit in my hotel room in Singapore, I'm waiting for an email from a PI that could change everything. The first PI report arrived during my layover in Dubai. I was exhausted from the 14-hour flight, mindlessly scrolling through emails when it popped up. The timestamp showed they'd started surveillance the morning after I left. Day 1 was uneventful. Normal store visits, interacting with other employees at some of the stores. Day 2 looked the same until 6 p.m. Instead of her usual evening workout, she drove to Fairmont downtown. The PI's photos showed her walking into the hotel bar, but she wasn't alone. A man in a gray suit met her at the entrance. The PI identified him as a regional director from her company's main competitor. My hands were shaking as I opened the next set of photos. They were sitting close in a dimly lit corner, his hand on her knee. Later shots showed them taking the elevator together. They emerged 2 hours later, looking slightly disheveled. The PI noted she didn't return home until 10 p.m. that night. Over the next week, similar reports filled my inbox. Sometimes they met at the Fairmont, other times at a boutique hotel near the financial district. The pattern was always the same: drinks first, then upstairs. She covered her tracks with fake workout check-ins on social media and late store visits texts to me. The PI dug deeper into the AP's background. He'd transferred to Boston 4 months ago, right around the time of that Philadelphia conference. His LinkedIn profile even showed him speaking on a panel there. Everything started making sense. The sudden password changes, mysterious phone calls, new clothes, late nights. She wasn't advancing her career. She was advancing an affair. What hit hardest were the casual deceptions. While I was texting her from Singapore about missing her, she was sending quick replies from hotel rooms with him. When I mentioned cutting my trip short because I felt uneasy, she insisted I stayed the full 2 weeks, saying she was just busy with some new stores the company had purchased. The PI's photos from that exact day showed her having lunch with him at an upscale restaurant, her hand intertwined with his. By day 10, I had all the evidence I needed. Photos, even photos of them kissing before getting into her car. Times, locations, everything documented with cold precision. The PI even caught them shopping together at the mall where we used to spend our weekends. She was wearing the blouse she claimed to have had for ages. I stopped reading the reports after that. Sitting in my hotel room halfway across the world, I shifted into autopilot, called my bank, secured my assets, contacted a divorce attorney recommended by a colleague in Boston, downloaded all the PI's evidence to a secure cloud drive. Methodically, quietly, I began dismantling the life I thought we had. The final report came with a note from the PI. Subject appears to be planning something for your return. Overheard discussing dinner reservations for the day after your scheduled arrival. She was probably planning some grand gesture to cover her tracks, unaware that every lie was already documented in my inbox. I changed my flight home without telling her. Instead of arriving Friday evening as planned, I booked a Wednesday morning flight. The PI confirmed they'd fallen into a routine. Wednesdays were their regular meeting days at our house, taking advantage of my usual late client calls. During my final days in Singapore, I maintained our normal routine of daily texts and occasional calls. Each conversation felt surreal. She asked about my meetings, sent photos of takeout dinner at her desk, complained about traffic. Meanwhile, I was systematically preparing for what came next. The divorce attorney had everything ready. Massachusetts is a no-fault state, but evidence of infidelity can impact asset division. Every photo, timestamp, and location was cataloged. The PI's final report included a detailed timeline stretching back to that Philadelphia conference, including credit card records showing matching hotel charges that weren't on her company expense reports. I landed at Logan Airport at 9:43 a.m. Wednesday. The PI confirmed they were following their usual pattern. His car arrived at our house at 10:30. I waited an hour, giving them time to get comfortable. My Uber pulled up at 11:45. I used my key to enter through the garage, where I saw his BMW parked next to her car. The house was quiet except for music playing upstairs. I walked up slowly, each step feeling like miles. The guest room door was closed. I could have burst in, created a scene, but instead I just knocked. 3 sharp knocks that echoed through the hallway. The music stopped. Scrambling sounds, whispered panic. I waited patiently until she opened the door, wearing a robe I'd never seen before. Her face went from shock to fear to resignation in seconds. Behind her, he was frantically buttoning his shirt. "I really think you should leave," I said to him. He grabbed his shoes, practically running past me. I heard his car start moments later. She started to speak. I told her to shut up, pulled out an envelope from my briefcase, divorce papers already prepared, placed them on the guest room dresser without a word. 7 years of marriage ended with the sound of papers touching wood. I had already packed a bag that morning. It was waiting in the Uber outside. The driver was probably wondering what was taking so long. Before leaving, I turned back one last time. "The PI has been watching for weeks. Your attorney can contact mine about the house sale." That was 3 hours ago. I'm at a hotel now, watching Boston traffic crawl by outside my window. My phone keeps buzzing. Her calls, messages from her family, mutual friends asking what's happening. I've blocked most numbers except my attorney's. Tomorrow, I'll start looking for apartments. But tonight, I'm just sitting here, watching the city lights come on, feeling strangely calm about burning everything down to the ground. Update. It's been a week since I walked into my house and found them together. A lot has happened, so I figured I should update everyone who offered advice. The divorce proceedings are moving as expected. After I left that day, she tried damage control, blew up my phone with messages about talking things through and understanding the full story. I forwarded everything to my attorney without reading past the first lines. The only message I responded to was about coordinating times for her to move her things out. The PI's evidence turned out to be even more valuable than expected. Her AP didn't fare much better. His wife showed up at my hotel room 2 days after everything went down. Turns out my attorney found her contact information while building the case. She wanted to compare notes. Apparently, this wasn't his first office affair, just the first time he got caught. She's filing for divorce too. The house is already on the market. I don't want to stay there. We'll lose money because we haven't stayed in the house long. My realtor says the current market is hot. We should be able to sell quickly. I'm letting my attorney handle all communication about the sale. Her family's reaction surprised me. Her sister called yesterday, not to yell or defend her, but to apologize. Apparently, she'd suspected something was wrong when my wife started missing their weekly coffee meetups. She'd even confronted her about possible infidelity a month ago, but got shut down. Now she's helping me compile a timeline for the divorce proceedings. Some of our mutual friends have started taking sides. Most have been supportive, especially after learning about the PI evidence. A few think I should have confronted her before hiring the PI, given her a chance to explain. Those people don't get it. The lies had been going on for months. The conference wasn't the start. It was just when they got sloppy. My temporary hotel room is becoming more permanent. Found a month-to-month lease at one of those extended stay places. It's not home, but it works for now. Started hitting the climbing gym again. The physical exhaustion helps quiet my mind. The divorce papers are being processed. She signed them without contest. Probably realized the evidence left her no room to negotiate. Her AP is already looking for positions in other states, according to his wife. Seems like their grand romance couldn't survive daylight. For now, I'm focused on untangling our lives. Joint accounts are closed, insurance policies updated, mail forwarded. Amazing how 7 years together can be dismantled in a week of paperwork. The only direct contact we'll have going forward is through our attorneys, and that's exactly how I want it. Second update. A month has passed since my last update, and it feels like I've lived through a year in these 4 weeks. The house sold faster than expected. I was really surprised it sold quite a bit above the asking price. The real estate market in Boston is insane right now. Her affair actually worked in our favor here. Both of us were so eager to get rid of the property that we priced it aggressively. 3 days on the market, 7 offers, all over asking. The profits are sitting in escrow until the divorce finalizes. Speaking of his wife, we've been comparing notes over coffee. Nothing romantic, just 2 people processing similar betrayals. She found credit card statements showing he bought my wife some jewelry I thought came from a sales bonus. Found out they took a weekend trip to Vermont when I was at a conference in Chicago. Each revelation should hurt, but I just feel numb to it now. The climbing gym job turned into something unexpected. Been coaching 3 nights a week, mostly beginners and kids. There's something therapeutic about helping people face their fears on the wall. The owner mentioned expanding the training program, wants me to develop a proper curriculum. It's a nice distraction from the legal meetings and my real estate stuff. My wife's sister has been surprisingly helpful through all this. Turns out my wife had been lying to her family for months about working late when she was really with him. Her parents finally stopped trying to contact me after they saw the evidence. The divorce proceedings hit a small snag when they found joint investments I'd forgotten about. Some tech stocks we bought years ago. My attorney sorted it out, but it delayed things by 2 weeks. Meanwhile, I found out she's already moved in with a friend across town. The AP apparently relocated to Chicago last week. Their whole affair fell apart the moment it wasn't secret anymore. My extended stay room is starting to feel cramped, but I'm not ready to commit to a new place yet. Thinking about leaving Boston entirely. The climbing gym owner has connections to a bigger facility in Colorado. Said he'd make some calls if I'm interested. The divorce should be final in a few weeks. Our lawyers are handling the last details about retirement accounts and stock options. It's strange how clinical it all becomes, reducing 7 years to spreadsheets and asset divisions. Final update. Sometimes life has a way of pushing you in directions you never expected. It's been 3 months since my last update, and everything has changed. The divorce finalized last month. 7 years of marriage ended with electronic signatures and a court filing. The house profits were split, accounts divided, and assets distributed. Even though everything was split, she only got 40% of everything. Her infidelity caused that? My attorney said it was one of the smoothest divorces she's handled. I took that job offer in Colorado. The climbing gym owner's connection turned out to be a major climbing center in Boulder. They needed someone to run their training programs and develop youth competitions. The timing worked perfectly. I accepted the position the day after the divorce finalized, sold most of my furniture, packed my car with climbing gear and camera equipment, and drove west. Took the scenic route through national parks, slept at campgrounds, taking photos at sunrise. By the time I reached Boulder, the weight of everything that happened in Boston felt lighter. Also, as a real estate investor, I can go anywhere and do it. But I am putting my real estate investing on pause for now until I am settled in. Found out through mutual friends that my ex-wife is struggling. The AP's wife made sure their story circulated through professional networks. Last I heard, she switched companies with lower pay. Don't really understand that logic. The AP disappeared to Chicago, already divorced, apparently dating someone from his new office. The climbing center job fits like I've been doing it for years. Started an advanced youth program that's already sending kids to regional competitions. Been developing new training techniques. The owners mentioned expanding to Denver. Want me to oversee both locations. The extended stay apartment is a distant memory. Found a small house near Boulder Canyon with views of the Flatirons. The morning light here makes Boston feel like a dream I had years ago. Set up a home office, built a training wall in the garage. This place feels more like home than our Boston house ever did. Haven't bothered dating. Some of my new friends have tried setting me up, but I'm focused on building this new life. The climbing community here is different, more authentic, less concerned with corporate ladders and status. My evenings are filled with training sessions and planning weekend climbing trips. Got an unexpected email from her sister last week, just checking in, sharing some family updates. Mentioned that this whole experience changed how she handles her own relationship, made her value honesty more. It's strange how betrayal can end up teaching the right lessons to the wrong people. They say the best revenge is living well, but this isn't about revenge anymore. It's about realizing that sometimes you have to lose everything to find out what you actually need. Right now, I need these mountains, this camera, and these chalk-covered hands showing kids how to trust themselves on the wall.